new topic which is about the leaf structure and the function. We have discussed about the morphology or the external structure of the leaf. Now in this lecture we will study what is the internal structure of the leaf, or you can say what is the anatomy of the leaf. So first you need to know, and I hope you already know, what is the role of the leaf. The role of the leaf is to trap light for the photosynthesis, and the most important function of the leaves is the exchange of the gases. You all know there are a number of the minute openings which are called as the stomata. They are present in the upper or the lower epidermis of the leaf, and they are responsible for the gaseous exchange process. So leaves do not shade each other. They have they just maximize their surface area to trap the maximum possible light for the process of the photosynthesis. Veins basically consist of the vascular tissues. Veins are consisted of the vascular tissues, the xylem or the phloem, for the transportation of food and the water. Towards the stem and the root, there is the transport of the water through the phloem, and towards the leaf, there is the transport of the uh, water and the minerals from the soil towards the leaf by the xylem. Now, this picture shows you the clear difference between the monocot and the dicot leaves. So, in this picture, if you see, you can see that in case of the monocot leaf, the veins are they are present, or they are distributed in the long, cylindrical, and the parallel manner. While in case of the dicot leaves, the veins which are basically composed of the vascular tissue, the veins are present in the branching manner. They are present in the form of network, as you can see in the diagram. So I have told you earlier that veins contains what these veins contains. The veins contains xylem and the phloem, because the leaf also needs water. The water have to transport from the soil to the stem and to the leaves, and the food which is formed in the leaves by the process of the photosynthesis is needed by all other organs of the plant, and that food is transported by the flowing tissue from the leaf to the other parts of the plant. The xylem and the phloem transport materials in the plants. They are the complex tissues. Xylem and phloem are the complex tissues. You all know they are the complex tissues, and they are responsible for the transport of the materials in the plants. And what sort of material? Xylem transport water, while the phloem transport food in the form of the sucrose or the amino acid. So, our main concern is to talk about the internal structure of the leaf. But if we go inside the leaf, so you can see over here, this is a transection of the leaf, and if we go inside the leaf, so what are the different structures, or what are the different tissues which are present inside the leaf? They are below the epidermis. The first protective layer on the surface of the leaf is called as the epidermis, which is composed of the rectangular shaped cells. And in the epidermis, they at certain places in the lower and the upper epidermis, at the certain places there are the minute openings which are responsible for the gaseous exchange process, which are called as the stomata. They are present, or you can say they are interrupting the epidermal cells. So below the epidermis there is a layer of cells. In the cross section of the leaf you can see below the epidermis there is a layer of cells which is called as palisade layer. In this layer there are number of the chloroplasts present. It means the most of the process of the photosynthesis takes place in this layer. Now next to the palisade layer there is a layer of cells which is called as spongy layer. Why it is called as a spongy layer? Because the cells in this layer, they are loosely arranged, they have intercellular spaces, and this layer of the leaf is responsible for the process of the gaseous exchange. The carbon dioxide is released from this part of the leaf, and the carbon dioxide is accepted by the plant through the stomata, and after entering into the stomata, first the carbon dioxide enters into the spongy layer, because the most number of the stomata of the leaves are present on the lower epidermis. So next to the spongy layer, xylem and phloem vascular bundles are present, and the last layer of the leaf is called as lower epidermis, in which the majority of the stomata are present. Now the question is, why the maximum number of the stomata of the leaves are present in the lower epidermis? Because leaf or plant have to protect itself from the desiccation or dehydration. So if the number of the stomata are present, or the large amount of the stomata would be present on the upper surface of the leaf, so the large amount of the water will be transpired in the air, because the stomata are responsible for the two functions: loss of the water in the form of the water vapors and the exchange of the gases. So just to protect the maximum loss of the water from the surface of the leaf, the maximum number of the stomata are present on the lower epidermis. So here the clear picture of the internal structure of the leaf. Now you can say the above to the epidermis, above to the upper epidermis, there is a layer of the waxy substance which protects the leaf from the excess water loss. Is present on the upper epidermis of the leaf, which is called as a cuticle. Because it is made up of the waxy substances, so it is called as a waxy cuticle. Below the waxy cuticle, upper epidermis is present, which protect the later tissues. Now next to the upper epidermis, palisade mesophyll cells, which are elongated cells. You can see in the diagram, they are the elongated and the compactly arranged cells are present, and they have the maximum number of chloroplasts. And chloroplast basically is the organ which is responsible for the process of the photosynthesis. So the palisade layer have the maximum number of the chloroplasts. Next to the palisade layer, there is a layer of Next to the palisade layer, there is a layer of the cells which are loosely arranged, and they have large number of the intercellular spaces. That layer is called as a mesophyll layer, or you can say spongy mesophyll layer. And the last layer of the internal structure of the leaf is called as a lower epidermis, and it has the interruption in it, or which is called as a stomata, or you can say it has a minute openings which are responsible for the evaporation of the water in the process of the transpiration and gaseous exchange process. So this is about the internal structure or the internal parts of the leaf, or all the tissues which make up the internal structure of the leaf. Now function of the waxy cuticle, I told you earlier that it prevents the plant, or it prevents the leaf surface from the water loss. And why are the epidermal cells transparent? Epidermal cells are mostly transparent, and there is a reason of their transparency is to allow a lot of the light to pass through. If a surface is transparent, so maximum light will pass through it. In this diagram, that the palisade layer, where the palisade layer is present below the upper epidermis, and in this layer I told you the maximum number of the chloroplasts are present, and the chloroplasts are the organelles in which a pigment chlorophyll is present, which is responsible for giving green color to the leaves. So that layer of the cells, which is called as a palisade layer, is present, or is close to the upper epidermis. So that is the reason The upper epidermis or the upper surface of the leaf is darker green, while the lower surface is light green. Now, vascular tissue. If we talk about the vascular tissue, xylem and phloem, they are present throughout the plant because all the parts of the plant needs water and the food as well. Now, what is the function of the stomata? I told you, but in this diagram you can see the structure and all the parts of the stomata. Stomata allow the gaseous exchange process, and the stomata consist of the guard cells. And what are the guard cells? Guard cells are the structure in the stomata, and their function is to adjust the opening and the closing of the stomata. In the diagram you can see these green structures, which are kidney shaped or the bean shaped, they are called as the guard cells, and above the guard cells there are some subsidiary cells or the helping cells are present, which is called as you can also call them epidermal cells. And these epidermal cells, their function is to enter the water and the minerals, is to make sure the entry of the water and the minerals into the guard cells. So these epidermal cells, you can see they are the helping cells, and they just help they just make sure the entry of the water and the minerals into the guard cells. So the pore of the stomata is called as a stoma. The pore, you can see this pore from which the gaseous exchange process takes place. This pore of the stomata is called as stoma, and the guard cells also contains chloroplast. Now, this is a very important question, and I'm sure that most of you already know about it, that when the stomata close and when they are open. Stomata, mostly in most of the plants, the stomata open during the daytime when there is a maximum sunlight, and they are closed during the night. In case of the desert plants, just because in the desert there is a deficiency of the water in the soil, so just to overcome the deficiency of the water in the plant, the stomata in the desert plants, they just close during the day and they open during the night. So this is the behavior of the desert plants to minimize the loss of the water by the process of transpiration. So how do stomata open during the day? What is the reason and what is the procedure for the opening of the stomata during the day? You can see in this diagram, closed stomata, flaccid guard cells. If the stomata are the closed, they are called as flaccid stomata because there is no opening of the pore. You can see the inner the whole of the stomata is called as a stoma, which is a pore from which the gaseous exchange process takes place. So in the first diagram, the pore is closed, and when during the daytime, when the potassium ions, there are number of ions which are present in the soil, when the ions and the water, when the ions along with the water gets enter into the guard cells, so they just exert a pressure on the walls of the guard cells and push it outward, which results in the opening of the stomatal pore, which is called as a stoma. So in this diagram you can see when the water and the minerals gets enter into the guard cells, so their pressure, the entry of the water exert a pressure on the walls of the guard cells, and as a result of which the guard cells become turgid. They are full of water and the stomatal pore becomes open. So this is how the stomata open during the daytime. If there is a less water is present in the soil, so the stomata will not open properly. Alright. So in case of the different plants, in dicot, monocot and the aquatic plants, the location of the stomata vary. So stomata are located in case of the dicot mostly on the lower leaf surface, lower epidermis. In case of the dicot, stomata mostly or maximum amount of the stomata are present on the lower epidermis, while in case of the monocot, each leaf surface has an equal number of the stomata. In case of the monocot, upper and the lower epidermis of the leaf has equal number of the stomata. While what happens in case of the aquatic plants, because aquatic plants they are already present in the water, so no stomata. Sometimes in case of the submerged plants which are present in the water, they do not have the stomata at all. And in some cases, if the stomata are present, so stomata present in the upper leaf surface in the floating leaves. If the leaves are floating means if they are present or if they are present on the upper surface of the water, so the stomata may be present on the upper surface of the leaf. But if the leaves of the plant are the submerged, means they are sink in the water, so no stomata are present because they do not require the stomata for the transpiration process. They are already present in the water. Why are stomata located in like this? Lower leaf surface is more protected from the sun. I told you why stomata in the dicot are present on the lower epidermis, because the lower surface is more protected from the sun, and the water loss can be prevented if they are present on the lower epidermis. And in case of the monocot, each leaf has equal experience to the sun, because in case of the monocot, leaves are arranged in such a manner that each leaf has the equal exposure to the sun. So that is why in case of the monocot, the leaves have all the surface of the leaf has equal number of the stomata, while in case of the monocot, leaves are arranged in such a manner that the upper surface of the leaf is more exposed to the sunlight. So that is why they are present in the lower epidermis in the maximum. So in case of the aquatic plants, stomata are the useless, because the aquatic plants they are not in contact with the air. Because they are not in contact with the air, so they do not require the stomata. So what is the difference between the guard cell and the epidermis cells? Here is a difference. Guard cells have the chloroplast, while the epidermis do not have the chloroplast. Guard cells are the bean shaped or the kidney shaped, while the epidermis cells are cuboidal shaped. Guard cells are not evenly thick, while the epidermis cells have even thickening in them. So this is the structure of a dicot plant. You can see the upper portion is a shoot portion which consists of the branching and the stem, while the lower portion is the root portion. And this is the explained diagram. We discussed it earlier. So what is mentioned over here, the plant consists of the root, stem, node portion from which the leaves are arised, internode portion, and the leaves have the number of veins which are comprised of the vascular bundles. So this is the end of the lecture. I hope now you are able to define the structure of the leaf very clearly.